Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening and good night. Welcome back to Abstract Medicine. Today's reading is a collective reading and we're going to check in and see what the messages are from the angels, ancestors and guides. And we're also honouring and sending our heart to people of Los Angeles, the animals as well as the wild animals too, and their homes being completely devastated. And at the time of this reading it is still going on, and as you can hear by my voice, I'm very shaken myself by the whole thing. I have lived in Los Angeles, I'm also based there as well and in England, and I have a lot of friends, a lot of soul family there. So I know of people who have had to evacuate. I know of a couple of people who live in the evacuation areas, but it's just heartbreaking. For those of you who want to support the community by praying and holding space, then please go ahead and do that at your own time. You can do that here with me as well. I've got the incense here just to cleanse the energy, but yeah, it's been tricky. It's been a tricky few 24 hours, to be honest, but here we are. So, thank you angels, ancestors, guides for the messages that we're about to look into today. I'm actually being called to look at another tarot deck, so I'm just going to go and get it. So I've got two tarot decks for the community. It's going to be a short reading, but you can always pause the video or come back to it or listen to other videos that are longer as well. But as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't, and make sure also to take notes. See, I've been quite forgetful, or I've been sort of scatterbrained all morning, and it's because of the effect that this tragedy has taken on me, I've experienced, because the Los Angeles fires, it hit me in a very personal way, you know. So anyway, okay, so let's have a look. We've got the astrology reading cards and the Gaia tarot deck, as you have seen. I would like to look at the astrology. I feel like it's going to be about what's happening in this world now. We've been experiencing already in 2025 great change and shifts in, you know, South Korea with the plane crash, the earthquakes in Nepal, Tibet, and of course very recently and very vividly in our minds and hearts, the fires in Los Angeles, and the Santa Ana winds that have been ferociously doing their part in nature. But I think I'd like to look at what the angels or the ancestors want to share with us today about why all of this is taking place. Or yeah, look, see, we have fire here. So remember, this is a message about the year 2025 being a year of a need for equilibrium. Remember, the balance card had been coming up quite a lot in the collective readings, but also in the personal readings too. And the numerology of this year is number 9. 2025 adds up to 9, and 9 is Mars, 9 is fire, 9 is war, 9 is flames, fire, inflammation of the skin as well. So, you know, it's also hot and anger. And with this card, that would definitely indicate that, wouldn't it? So tell us, guides about this card and the significance of it in current affairs at this time. So this card is telling us to essentially not be provoked into a fight. Now this could also be a physical fight, this could be an argument. You know, I myself have very recently experienced it in the last 24 hours where I just wasn't gonna take in you know, sort of combative energy my way, so I just shut it down, because it also, at this time, I'm also very, very sensitive. I'm always sensitive, but I'm even more sensitive at this time, quite fragile, to be honest with you, emotionally and mentally. So it's one of those things where when there's so much anger or anxiety within the atmosphere that you are in or residing in, or that you are, you know, around, it can be very abrasive. And it's not to say that I've not been this energy too, of course I have. I'm also a very passionate person, but it's one of those things where there's a time for that. There's a time for fire and there's a time for water. You know, there's a time for passion, but there's also a time for calm. And so these messages have been coming in the collective as well, haven't they? But I think it's Gaia, it's Mother Earth having a reaction, an angry reaction to fight back, to possibly her oppression. But she's pissed off. Yeah, she's definitely pissed off here with the 5 of fire. It's like she's fighting back, you know. And you know, we can say what we want about Hollywood. We can, there's all these alleged things that have been happening there as well, under the scenes, underground, literally underground, in tunnels, as well as, you know, just the crazy stuff that's going on with the Diddy case as well, and the connection with all of the high echelons of that, including the governments and, you know, politics and all of that, which I won't get into, but for those of you who know, you know. It's one of those things where fire also cleanses, doesn't it? It does, but unfortunately in its wake is devastation. What I'm picking up on is, you know, when some people are of the mentality or of the belief that you can only create order out of chaos. I'm getting the sense that this is possibly what's happening. Let's have a look at the 5 of Pentacles, because I'm just curious in this particular deck, and just see what the Gaia Tarot wants to say about it. If I can find it. You know, I am classically bad at finding the information that I seek when I'm looking through books, unless I've put a bookmark. Yeah, rivalry, competition, aggression, bullying, conflict, discord, chaos, exactly, and obstacles. A time of chaos, conflict, or confrontation, which is happening in Los Angeles right now. A battle for control or dominance. A desire for power, influence, or wealth. Interesting. Do not judge or condemn others. Base your concerns in fact. Avoid pack mentality behavior. Make no place for bullying. Focus on your vision, not on what others are doing. What stands out to me, of course, is the chaos word. Control, a battle for control, a desire for power, influence, or wealth. Now, unfortunately, the fires that started in Los Angeles took place in affluent areas, Pasadena, as well as, you know, Malibu, Pacific Palisades specifically, and then of course the Hollywood Hills as well. And you know, I go to these places. I know people that live there, as I said, and a lot of these places are mainly places where editors, people that work in Hollywood, from the movies, actors live, and they are of a certain wealth or income, or they are around those areas because it's good networking too, you know, to be around people that you work with as well. So there's something to be said about that, isn't it? About the affluence as well. Tell us more about what's happening in the world at this time, and why is it affecting us so much on a personal level, Gaia? It's a fight for power. There's a fight for power right now. Wow, we have the Queen of Air, which would be the Queen of Winds. And the Queen of Winds is Santa Ana, you know. And we have the number 2 of Cups, the 2 of Cups. I'm just going to pause the video one moment. I'm just going to check on the oven and I'll be back shortly. Okay, so I'm back. So there's a few things to mention. Yesterday I burnt my food that was actually in the oven. So it was a message about paying attention. And I also feel like if you don't pay attention to the minute, it's one of those things where nature can, of course, as we know, cause utter devastation. A water drop doesn't really have much effect on us on a personal basis, but a tidal wave does and can. A candle is very calming and brings a lot of, you know, emotional warmth as well as actual physical warmth, and is used as a tool for prayer as well. But when we don't keep an eye on it, it can cause devastation. That little candle can cause devastation. That's why there's a lot of warnings during the Christmas holidays, you know, during the festive season, to pay attention to and make sure that your fire alarms are working. So I feel like it's a thing about Gaia saying, pay attention to the details. Pay attention to the details. Because if you miss out on the details, then you could be up for a disaster. Now, think about what that could mean to you in your personal life. I'm not trying to scare you, I'm just being realistic, but also sharing the channeling and the messages that Gaia wants to share today. When we have, you know, physical conflict and anger comes up when there is a lot of repressed emotions that haven't been expressed, either vocally or maybe even creatively, or even sexually too. That can happen too as well. So people will lash out unexpectedly, but it's not really unexpectedly for the body. It's not unexpected for the mind, because it has stored energy that has been needing to be released. There's a chair that I've had in my house that has been an absolute bane of my life the last 2 months. It's a really funny shaped chair. I've been trying to get rid of it. People are interested in getting it from me, but then they pull out last minute, and it's been in the way. I've tried to put it in places. I've tried to see if it could work in another area, in another room, in another situation, and it just doesn't seem to fit anywhere. And it's a comfortable chair, but it's really out of place in my home. And energetically, there's a tie with this chair too. And it's like, I've tried to even just put it in the shed, and it has just been an absolute ordeal just trying to get it in the shed, just on itself. Any other chair would have been a simpler, more simple as a task to move from my home into the shed, but this particular chair has just been an ordeal, which I feel is very connected to, again, the energy of the person who had the chair previously. And it's just that, it's that thing, it's like it eventually just creeps up on you, that the things that don't bring you joy, they creep up. You know, when I talk about getting rid of things, sharing, you know, making sure you give stuff to charity. Someone picked up my table today, which is good. You know, I'm glad that they did that, and I'm glad that it's going to a good home. But it's just like, things that don't bring you joy, just get rid of it. And until they just creep up on you like a tidal wave, or like a blazing rage within you where you want to just fight. And you got to control that. You know, 2025 is the year of number 9. Number 9, as I said, is about fire. It's about tending to your flames, tending to the flames. Now, I do talk about these things in the collective. I feel like some of you hear it and then it doesn't really settle within or integrate within. You know, everything is connected. What I see and what I'm saying here on abstract medicine is connected. So that's why I always say, make sure to take notes. You know, when I talk about inflammation and flames, take notes on that, because it's come up for me in my skin. Literally the 1st of January, I had a cold sore. You know, and a cold sore comes about through repressed anger and stress. And the only way that I can mitigate that usually is by taking ashwagandha tea or ashwagandha powder, which is Ayurvedic herbs. And in Ayurveda, ashwagandha settles the fire in the body, because in Ayurveda, I'm Vata Pitta. Vata is air and Pitta is fire. So each person in Ayurveda, in Ayurvedic medicine, is a particular element, or can be a hybrid of two. And as I said, my elements are fire and water. Sorry, fire and air. My apologies. Fire and air. So it's like one of those things where I had suppressed anger, I had suppressed rage, and I was stressed, and I was, you know, that's been really cold. And it came out, and in a flame. My lip was completely inflamed. It was completely swollen up. And that happened on the 1st of January. Partly a reason why I haven't shown my face recently, because it's just been, it's not been very pleasant to look at. But I've been curing it, and it's gone down a lot. You know? So it's one of those things, isn't it? So we have fire here, and we have air here. Now with this card, with the air, Queen of Air, she's got the glyph of Pisces in her eyes. So some of you could be Pisceans, or are very, very psychic, and you're seers, you know, you're people that see beyond the physical realm. As I'm talking, there's been lots of birds that have been flying in and out, by the way. And I went for a very, very quick drive to the supermarket, just to shake the energy off, just to, you know, because of the stress of everything. And as I'm speaking, there's like birds coming in and out. It's quite pretty, actually. And they're looking through the window. Let me just wave to them, otherwise they're just like, have you seen me? Have you seen me? Yes, I see you, I see you. But yeah, I saw the moon, and it was only like 1:30 in the afternoon. I could see the moon, you know. And there's a psychic who I love called Red Feather Tarot. I really love her. I think she might be Belarusian. But anyway, she says that there's a few signs that are coming up for you for great success. One of them is a blue bird by your window. Another one is the sign of the scales. Another one is the moon that you see in all of its grandeur. And I just couldn't believe it. I haven't seen quite so much a blue bird, but I've seen lots of birds outside my house. And the scales has been coming up a lot in the readings, hasn't it? The balance card, balance is Libra, balance is about scales. The typical sign of Libra, the glyph is actually scales, isn't it? So I found that interesting too. So I'm sharing this with you too, because this could be just before you're about to fall into a honey trap, where someone is provoking you into conflict. Okay. remember, whatever is happening personally is also happening externally, as within, so without. You come into great success. How is this connected to the fires in Los Angeles? I don't quite know just yet. But all I'm seeing is that it does involve love. It involves good partnerships. It involves soul family here with this beautiful card of the Lovers. Yeah. And then now here we have water. So remember, I spoke about the opposites, fire and water, and we have air. So right now the central energy for what is being called in is air. It's about thinking smart, it's about thinking right, and it's about thinking clearly, also clair-knowingly, having that inner instinct, having that inner gut feeling, having an inner intuition, and really responding to that inner intuition, and then thinking clearly about the next steps that you're going to make. I do get the sense this is about balance again. It's about balancing that fire with that water. You don't want too much water with the fire, and you don't want too much fire with the water. It has to be just right. It has to be tempered energy. I'm picking up on Sagittarius energy as well, you know. So let's have a look at the Queen of Air. I'm just curious about the Queen of Air. Queen of Swords is typically someone who has a lot of experience. She's gained authority. She's someone who has sort of really made something out of herself, but she may have been on the journey alone for a long time. This, or she could be someone who has been in a marriage before and is coming out of a marriage and is a bit, well, butthurt essentially about how she has trusted people before in her past, romantically speaking, and she's finding it difficult to trust. Now, interestingly, at the time of this reading, there's a singer called Lily Allen, who's an English singer, for those of you who don't know, but she was married to an American, I think American or Canadian actor, and he was cheating on her from the very beginning, all through the marriage. So she had to do something quite sneakily and quite Queen of Air, actually, very intelligently, by going onto the app Ria, making friends with the women on the Ria app. Ria is like an exclusive dating app. I used it like once for like a day. Okay, that's how much of an impression it made on me. And she made friends with the girls there, and she then followed them on Instagram, and she used them to provide a honey trap for her husband to see if he would respond, and if he was following them on Instagram. Turned out he was. And so she had all the receipts, all the frickin' receipts, you know. And as a woman to other women, I am so much about the sisterhood. Like, that pains me that she went through that. And the fact that she had to go through some crazy chessboard tactic, you know, in order to gain the information, which is very Queen of Air, Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra, to gain the information, to think smart, to gain those receipts, so that she could then eventually battle with him in court, knowing that you know, law's going to work in her favor. You know, so maybe this is something you're going through, collective, or maybe this is something you have gone through, and I'm sorry if you have. Now, the Queen of Air, if I can find it, is in this deck wise beyond belief. You know, we have her with an owl here. She's a weaver, she's observant, she's wise, exactly, she's truthful, she's analytical, she's a strategist, she's just, and she has detachment. So she's emotionally detached. Time to be realistic, she says. Be observant, plan, organise and determine your course of action. A need for emotional detachment. Be decisive and precise. Choose your words with care, stick to the facts. Don't allow your intellect to alienate. And then we have the Two of Cups, the Two of Water. That's my alarm going. I'm just about to end the reading. Talking about intimacy, closeness, trust. Remember, we talked about those scenarios as well. You know, how is trust coming up as something that is really prevalent for you in your personal life? Put it down in the comments. You don't have to put all the details, but put it down in the comments. how your commitments being affected by world events at this time, by politics right now. This is a card of reconciliation as well. It's also a card of equality and union. This card can also talk about codependency. So maybe this is something you're fighting against. This card can also be about taking sides, going beyond infatuation and attraction, intimacy, sharing, giving, and communication. Now, when there's a devastation, when there's a tragedy, when there's a fire, the community really come together to support people, don't they? All of the art galleries are closed at this time. I've been, I follow them. I know the art residencies there too. They've closed down for the day or two. Some indefinitely. Bookshops that I follow as well, that I've been to, they're very supportive. They've closed for the moment. Some bookshops are open to the public for safety. Some other enterprises are there so that you can go and work there and find peace and calm. Like, LA really turns out, it really does, to support its community. And you can say whatever you want about LA, I can too, but at the end of the day, it has good people. It is the city of angels. It's a city of fallen angels, and it's a city of good angels. And I've seen both sides of the equation, believe me. Avoid taking sides, maintain independence and avoid codependence. Cherish all of your loves. Put aside judgment and blame, a meeting of minds and hearts. Exactly. Now, if the heart is aflame with fire, that would be a meeting of heart. A meeting of mind would be the Queen of Air, which is air. And so, again, it's that balance of think smart, follow your intuition, and balance your opposite. If you're wanting to be in a certain way, do the opposite. Go the opposite direction. Where did I put my astrology card? Here. Okay, let's have a look. 2 cards. We have the 4th house and Virgo. Now, this is very in keeping with the message about community. The 4th house is about home. It's about your possessions, your home, and the roots of your being. It talks about safety. It talks about your family. And then we have Virgo, talking about paying attention to the details. Remember, we spoke about this. Pay attention to your details. The energy around you is dutiful, hesitant, and humble, with a discriminating, diligent, and painstaking air. But it's about paying attention to the small things over the large things, before they increase in such grandeur that you're not able, just like those firefighters, able to control, which is what fighting is. Firefighting is about controlling the flames. So keep it in check before it becomes a beast of its own. I'm going to leave it here for the moment. Actually, Spirit wants me to pull out an angel card. Yes, we have peaceful resolution. So this is a lovely card to end the reading, where there is balance and there is peace finally after all of this chaos. Even in your personal world, whatever is going on in you, what's within you, around you, in your surroundings, there is peace. There is peace, and it's coming, and it's here. You can find that in little moments through meditation as well. And then we have abundance. So you have an abundance of resources, even though if you might not feel like you do and you've lost your house. I mean, it's rich for me to say, of course, because I'm not there right now, but you have a community of people that really love and care for you, and there's some sort of magic that's being woven at the moment, where Spirit is saying also share gratitude to those who really want to support the community too, because you do have abundance too in that abundance of a community. There's also calm in your friendships as well, and safety and people that you can trust as well. So look at not only what you have lost, of course, but look at what you can gain out of the situation. If it's wisdom, fine. If it's more than that, then that's great too. Okay, so that's all I have for you. Actually, this card wants to come through. Choose a new direction. Exactly. We did talk about, if you're like a lot of people in LA have got the hint now that they need to leave, just like I had at the time I did. So this could be a message for those of you who are still there. this is a warning from Gaia to leave at the time when you can. I'm going to leave it here for the moment. All of my readings are timeless. 2025 predictions are still up and running. They are currently on discount. I think I've got 2 slots left. Take advantage of that. Otherwise, I'll be here for another reading as soon as I can. Thank you so much. God bless. Take care of yourselves. Bye for now.